Hi, Alfie.
How you
Are
doing?
you there? Okay.
I'm doing
Now
good.
I'm mute. I was trying to, good morning. I was trying to use my laptop, but it's just not opening the link. I'm sure it's something I don't have loaded correctly. So anyway, how are you?
Good, thank you. Well, do you have the app? Because the app is free. Like if you start a meeting, it limits you to 40 minutes.
Okay.
But the app is free.
So you're talking about just a regular Zoom app?
Uh huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've done meetings on this before, so I don't know what's going on this morning.
Oh, okay.
And it's an old laptop. My
Ah.
computer guy tells me it's a dinosaur. I'm like, I know, but I don't feel like buying one more device. You know what I mean? Like I have a tablet, I have two phones. It's like, oh, come on. Oh, okay, maybe I'm making progress. Terms of service. So anyway, we'll see. So how's everything in Dallas?
It's doing fine. It's in the mid 90s and will be for a while.
Yeah.
And it's life on the planet.
Yeah, same here. It's getting hotter and heavy and dusty, but I mean, I woke up with a little headache. I think it's because the people upstairs had their TV on till 3:30 this morning, so I couldn't sleep. Anyway, it's all right. Like you said, another day on the planet, Alfie.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Well, hello, Frank and David and Mary and Margaret and Leo.
hey, everybody.
Hey,
I'll stop you happy.
Hi. Hi. Good to see you all. And Nancy. And Giovanna. I think some of these names are new. Is anyone here for their first time? So you can put it in the chat if you wish. Okay, so we have a squad of veterans. There's Dianat and Taylor.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. A little tensed.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of things going on in the world.
Yeah. But, anxiety, tightness, things I'm hooked on to the news. Trying to avoid.
Well, and hello to Rose and Lisa. Yeah, that is really a central issue. It's becoming a central issue with a lot of my clients too. You know, that question is how do we relate to what's going on? And that's why I talk quite a bit about the prophecies, Christian and Jewish and Buddhist and Native American. That's the context in which we're living. It's important to know that because it means that there isn't a whole lot we can do about it except raise our own consciousness, which is always the best thing to do, and it seems to help. It gives us some stability. I was going to read this at the end, but I'm going to read it now. This is a quote from Rumi. You transform all who are touched by you. Mundane concerns, troubles, and sorrows dissolve in your presence, bringing joy. Because we've often talked about sometimes maintaining a buoyant state of mind as best we can. Sometimes that's our best contribution. And that people will automatically attune to that, start to resonate to that. So, I haven't quoted this in a long time, but Camus said, quoted by Jack Kornfield, that Camus said, "Joy is a moral obligation," which I'm very grateful for. And sometimes, let me put it this way, my natural tendency in the past has been when something is wrong to try to fix it. Right? That's the and I had to get over that in counseling and therapy because I can't fix anything. It's only the person themselves that can fix, and maybe I can help, in some way, and help them find the tools and the resilience and what have you, and help clear away whatever's in the way with that. But each person really has to do it themselves. So Hippocrates says the healer within is the greatest healer of all. And what he really meant is that vital force that we all have, that's our healer. That becomes our task. Is to, if we're feeling out of joint and having difficulty, there's something in the way of our internal healer. And it may be grief, sorrow, resentment, trauma, whatever it may be, that is in the way. So that's sort of in the spirit of what the topic I chose today, which is stillness and silence. And I equate them in my mind. Stillness is a physical stillness, and silence. Stillness is like a physical stillness, and silence is like an inner silence. And so a lot of times when I'm teaching meditation, we'll start with stillness, because sometimes it's easier to identify and conceptualize stillness than it is silence and what that means. But when we really turn into stillness, something really nice happens, and in the sense that there's a sense of peace, a sense of absorbing, a sense of being okay, a sense of the present moment, a rest, but a wakeful rest. It's not an escape from anything, it's a presence. And so the stillness is, I think of it as part of my daily diet. That to be still at some point during the day, or just be silent part of the day, whatever that is. Sometimes when I'm driving, I just turn everything off and just drive. And it's not really meditation, but it's a way of being still, even though I'm driving and moving in traffic and having to. But I find too, when I'm doing that, I run into less issues in general, people trying to pass me or pulling in front of me and stuff like that. There's a lot less of that for some reason. So the practice of stillness and silence to me is very, very important, and it's certainly part of mindfulness meditation and also of compassion. And that the meditation creates a space and the compassion fills it. But it can only do that if we're still. If we're jumping around all the time and worried about this or that or what have you, we really can't. Compassion is far from us. So first I have to get still, and because in the stillness it's like potential. It's a state of potential. And it's like from a place of stillness, it's like anything could happen. So in using that as the basis for practice, we tend to open the door to more options, and to give ourselves a little bit of grace and a break from our incessant, got to do this and got to do that and got to fix this. And so it's the same practice, though, whether we're living in an ideal situation or a situation like today where, it's like a barroom brawl going on, or it's like it's like a high school brawl in some impoverished community. It's ridiculous. I mean, some people seem to be completely without wisdom. That's what's bringing us to these. That's to me, the way I see it, what's behind all this, what's going on. So the answer is not to try to stop them or to reason with them, because, as I've mentioned frequently, reasoning with somebody who is without reason makes them all the harder and all the more closed. So there's no reasoning with people like what's going on today. So what we do is, best we can, if we don't hold any of the controls of power, we can't muster the wisdom of whatever governing body there is, to carry that sense of overcoming and peace and wisdom. So I haven't really talked about this directly, but in the contemplative traditions, the mindfulness meditation is considered a wisdom practice. And that's a foundation for the compassion practices. In other words, the mindfulness does a lot of things, but it can be summed up as creating space, and creating space for all kinds of wonderful things to happen. And when we arrive at that space in a state of equanimity, and then we become aware of what's going on in our lives or other people or what's going on in the news, compassion begins to arise and fills that space. And so the practices are really, they're always taught together in they're connected, and they're always taught that way. So today, in terms of stillness, I thought it would be best to start with a compassion practice, which will be kind of like a meditation, but we'll start with a compassion practice, and then bring that into a mindfulness practice. So we'll see how that works. Because one of the most important things is two things. One is we all want to keep ourselves safe, and that seems to be less and less likely. And then we want to keep our loved ones safe, and people we know and care about. And that also seems to be becoming more and more difficult. Therefore, the only thing we have is our own resonance in the world, and that resonance we talk about is a real thing. It's like I used to think when I first heard that and things like that I thought, well, that's kind of, we're faced with tanks and you want me to throw flowers, right? So that doesn't make any sense to me. But at the time, that is exactly what does make the difference. I mean, there was, I have the photo somewhere. I may even use that in one of the things. But anyway, there was a photograph that became really famous during one of the big protest marches in Washington. They had the soldiers lined up with their guns ready. And some woman had flowers, and she came up and started sticking the flowers in the barrels of the gun and presenting the flowers to the soldiers. At the time it's like, what is this crazy guy? Well, what's she doing? Hippie, blah, 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 tree hugger, blah, blah, blah. But that is, that's what we need to do. That will make changes somehow. Aung San Suu Kyi, I don't know if you know, she's had a lot of troubles in the last few years, the way she handled some other stuff politically, but she was the widow of the president of Myanmar, and he was assassinated, and she took over the reins. And there was the military had come out that opposed her, had come out and I think was blocking her way into her residence, something like that. And she just walked up to them and was silent for a while and then simply walked straight through them. that's how she was resonating, to be able to cut through and part the water, so to speak, of that hatred and the foibles of power, because power seems to be the big prize, the golden apple that a lot of people seek these days, and they don't know that that's really it's going to backfire, but we'll see. So I figure we get started a little early, and so finding a comfortable position and one in which you don't have to move any muscles to maintain your posture, and we'll begin. And settling into stillness, into the same silence that the bell is entering itself. And just becoming aware of the space of silence, a space of stillness. And particularly the stillness of the body. And even though we may be able to feel our heartbeat, the body as a whole is still. And allowing the body to be as still as we can, however possible. And bringing our full awareness to that stillness. Perhaps knowing that there is something there, but we don't quite know what it is in this stillness. And allowing ourselves to settle in this space as best we can. And allowing the body to absorb this feeling of stillness, of rest, of peace. Because for the next few minutes there's nothing we need to go do or fix. And allowing our appreciation to expand, our appreciation of this space. Somehow seems familiar, but we don't quite know what it is. And really it doesn't matter, it just is. And allowing ourselves to be with this space, in this space as best we can. Allowing our thoughts to slip away. To experience this presence. And as we experience this space, however we meet it, allowing compassion to be gathered from it and take form in whatever way seems appropriate for you, whether it's a feeling or light or whatever it may be. But compassion toward oneself in a way that unites the past, the present, and the future. And as it gathers, feeling its warmth and stability. In a way that says every aspect of our needs for compassion can be fulfilled. Because our world is made of the so-called past, present, and future. And allowing it all to be infused with compassion. And the more we allow, the more we are infused with this strange and wonderful force. And allowing our awareness to expand, to encompass it as best we can, and absorb it. Letting us know that it is possible that no matter what happens or what has happened, compassion can be there too. And allowing all this to expand as best we can, knowing that there is no limit. And perhaps noticing it has its own energy. And we exist in that energy. That we are part of that field. And perhaps realizing that we and the field are pretty much the same. As if, in a sense, we are made of the field, yet seem to be a part of it as well. allowing ourselves the ease of this experience. As our natural state. That this is what we are made of. And gives us the power to think and be and act. So in a sense, if compassion were clay, we are formed of the clay. But unlike clay, it is living and vibrant and awake. And settling in this as best we can. Part of a pervasive field. And perhaps getting the idea that this state is our true state. And as we rest in this state, bring to mind the present moment and bringing it into the awareness of the present moment. Into our self-awareness. With the notion that that is who we really are. And allowing ourselves just to be with this. And bringing it into our daily awareness of our notion of ourself. That even though we may be distracted at times, that is always there. Just as surely as a tree has roots, and from that follows the idea that remembering this allows us to resonate in that way and bring that resonance to others. So that we know this state cannot be destroyed or impinged upon in any way. It's always present. And the more that we're aware of it, the more it resides consciously within us. And bringing this again into mindful awareness, into this space between stimulus and response, as best we can. As an essential element of our daily activity. Indeed, the foundation of our activity. As we continue to allow it to be just as it is. so that when the bell rings again, you can bring this with you as you go about your day and carry it with you and come back to it at any time.